All right, welcome everybody. We've got people joining the room right now as we speak. This session will be recorded today. For those of you that are in the room with us, welcome. If you guys could go ahead and engage in the chat, we would appreciate if everybody could drop into the chat what agency you are with, what zone you're with, and also what's your favorite cause? What is something you're supporting this year through your combined federal campaign, whether it's education or medical research, the environment? Please share with us a cause. I'm sure there's more than one, but one of the causes that you're supporting this year through your combined federal campaign. Max.
Mark Oles in the house. Hey, Mark. Greater Tennessee Valley. There's a lot of.
Good afternoon, James. Good afternoon, Jen.
There you are. Happy Giving Tuesday, Mark.
Thank you. You too, Mike.
And come up with the cause, or I'm going to assign one to you by the end of this meeting.
Of course you would. It'd be illogical if you didn't.
I have three causes, Jen.
What did you drop in there, Mike? Education.
I haven't dropped in anything. I'm too busy. I'm education, breast cancer research, and the national parks. I love the national parks.
I actually think I could have got those correct if it was a Cahoots game question. Take note, Bruce.
Noted.
You know I memorized that, right, Jen, just for that fact.
Perfect. All right, we still do have a lot of people coming in. I want to acknowledge, guys, that as a outreach coordinator servicing 21 zones, all of yours included, of course, that's why we're here today. We tend to go back and forth between Zoom and Teams platform, understanding that agencies have different access to different platforms. So today we are presenting on Teams, as you guys are aware, and Teams isn't always our strong suit. So if we fumble the ball a little bit, hopefully only our team knows it, and you guys you are completely unaware of that. But certainly, I always appreciate learning more, getting better at all of the things. So if you have any pro tips for me on Teams, chat is our friend. Feel free to share those with us and our team today. We really appreciate you guys helping us to become better at this. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike May, who is our president, CEO for MP-MAID, the contractor assigned to operate 21 zones, who is going to welcome us and get this Giving Thanks, this Giving Tuesday presentation started. So over to you, Mike.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody, for it's a busy day for our team. It's a busy day for you as volunteers. I think there's events going on. There's a lot happening in the CFC right now. We wanted to take a minute today to recognize our federal volunteers. The tradition of the CFC, Jen's going to talk a little bit about, has been handed to you. The baton was handed to you today, and we wanted to recognize that and thank you. Giving Tuesday starts the federal season of giving. In the last 24 hours, and I'm looking at results here as they come up, over $3 million have been raised. And that will continue through today and tomorrow. Last year, $5 million was raised through these 3 days. 70% of the money that's raised this year happens from today or yesterday forward. And that's because of the work that you've done up to this point. It's because of the training. It's because of the meetings. It's because of all the Cause Week messages. You've made those impressions, and you have done an incredible job. You are the tradition of the CFC, one federal employee, asking another to give, and that's over the last 62 years, generated over $8.7 billion. So we're giving thanks to you today. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for coming today. We do this because it fills our cup. We do this because hearing the stories of federal employees really are what fills me, Jen, and our team's cup. And so thank you for joining us, and thank you to all the people that are going to take some time and speak today. Jen? You're muted.
Thanks, Mike. I did notice that somebody on my team muted me at some point, and I really appreciate that, guys. So we actually are going to start with the national anthem. So Bruce, if you want to, or Maureen, cue up our, it's a federal event, guys, right? It's a federal family affair, and we feel it's very important that we take a moment, take pause to enjoy the national anthem. So thanks, Bruce.
You're muted, Bruce.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Excellent. Thank you so much. So before we turn it over to our area directors who are here with us today, I want to just take a moment to acknowledge and our support staff, those that often are behind the scenes that make all of this possible. So our team this year implemented a role called the support specialist. This is new to our organization, and we just felt that between our area directors and our account managers that each of you guys work with every day, they needed some support so that they could be better at the front line of what they do in supporting you. And so Anna Childress, Shell President, and Noemi Gonzalez, who are here with us today, thank you guys so much for the just endless work that you guys do behind the scenes to support your zones and to support your area directors and your account managers. Our campaigns are better because of you guys. So thank you for that. And then also to our loaned executives. Loaned executives are federal employees who are loaned to us from their federal agency to support the CFC activities throughout the duration of the campaign. So George Amerson, Gwendolyn Morris, Diane Neal, and Shuri, I never say your last name correctly. I apologize, so I'm not going to try. But thank you guys so much, and others. We have other loaned executives with the postal teams and other agencies that come to us even part-time, maybe not necessarily full-time, but the loaned executive program is so critical to the success of a campaign. And if you're interested, coordinators, key workers, and learning more about it, that is what this is, to be a federal volunteer. We're here to thank our federal volunteers. You come in as a key worker, you become a coordinator. Next thing you know, you're a loaned executive or serving on the LFCC or the Federal Executive Board. We have LFCC members and FEB directors here with us today. If you guys are interested in learning what it means to be a loaned executive, to be loaned to the campaign and to work side by side with us, all day, all week long throughout the campaign, please let your account managers know. We'd love to share that information with you and get you more connected to the program with another role of volunteering for the CFC. So that being said, before I turn it over, I just want to take one moment and thank everybody who's here today. Thank you for continuing to show up and show out for our team to support us. We could not do this without each and every one of you, those here being recognized, those here supporting this event, and all that you do for our country, for your agencies, the missions. We know the work you do with CFC is above and beyond. You guys are salt of the earth, and we are so grateful. And that's why we wanted to spend this Giving Tuesday giving thanks for each and every one of you. So thank you guys so much. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maureen Hartung. Maureen Hartung, over to you in the Northern Area presentation today.
Thank you, Jen. And thank you everyone for being here. This is our Northern Area team here. Carrie Hawthorne covers Midwestern Michigan and ICSO. We've got Ron in Ohio, and then James covering Western PA and West Virginia. So this is our Northern Area team in addition to Shell. So thank you to my team. And I want to introduce the first speaker today for Northern Area. We have Lloyd Billy, who I wish I could spend more time talking about how great Lloyd is. He's the best LFCC chair across all zones. I cover 6 zones, but I tell Lloyd every time, Northern Lights will always be my favorite. So thank you, Lloyd, for being here today and kicking us off.
So Maureen, where do I send the check? So thank you for everyone for coming today. As Maureen said, my name is Lloyd Billy. I'm a research technician with the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Fargo, North Dakota. We are the Northern Lights Zone. We're way up at the top of the contiguous United States. I've been doing this work for over 20 years. I started out as a key worker, and I don't like the word donation. I like to use the word invest. I have invested in medical charities, hospice charities, and healthcare charities through my years of CFC. And the other thing I've invested in is the CFC itself. A long time ago, I decided to also help the program so that it's there for me, it's there for others, and it's there going into the future. So in addition to thanking everyone, I would encourage you to think about something like that. And if you enjoy doing this kind of work, to join your local LFCC and give back to the campaign, as well as giving back to the charities of your choice. My story has kind of been complicated over the last 20 years. I turned into one of those people that says, you never think it's going to happen to you. About 2 years ago, I did one of those little home tests and it came back positive, and my doctor said we need to do more tests. And so then those came back positive and I got a diagnosis of cancer. And so we started planning the route forward, and they said, oh, by the way, we just found another cancer that was fairly different from the first one. So the last year and a half, I've been going through radiation and chemo and surgery, and hopefully I'm on the downhill or on the upswing. But it's a good emphasis in the fact that the charities that I've been donating to over these years or investing in have come through, and I've called on them to help when I was in need. And so they were there for me and our community. And we also lost my father to cancer during this time, so we relied heavily on the hospice that I'd invested in for years. So it's not just a one-time donation this year, it's something that you're investing in your community that will be there in the future. So if Maureen can put up the little newspaper clipping, this is a story that's a favorite of Mike's and it's a favorite of mine. People always tell me, well, if I just give a few dollars, what real difference does that make? Well, this story was in the Fargo Forum a few years ago. And it's about a gentleman who just decided one day to start saving the tops off of his aluminum pop cans. And he put them aside in a box, and then 2 boxes, and then 3 boxes. And after doing this for about 20 years, he decided it was time to get rid of them. So they had put a long string. It turns out in 20 years, he collected over 4 million of these little pop tops. And it turned out it was about 1,800 pounds of aluminum that he had collected. And so he took that into our local metal recycling facility, and he was able to donate $1,200, which he donated to a charity here in Fargo. So this is a perfect example of what happens when either one person can do a small thing over and over again, or 1,200 people can get together and do one small thing at the same time, and it has the same results. So I think it's just an excellent example that you can use as you go through your day. And the other thing I will leave you with is a quote that I used at my father's service, and I won't swear to it. The best attribution that I can come up with is it's from Dr. Zeus. But in addition to our CFC work, we grew vegetables in our garden and donated them to a local food bank. And his last healthy year, we donated over 5,000 pounds of veggies. And I always thought, you know, did that really make a difference? But it did. And if you listen to Dr. Zeus, the quote that sticks with me is, to the world, you're just one person. But one person but to one person, you can be the world. So thank you for what you do and have a great CFC season. So thank you, Maureen, for everything that you've done for our campaign. And I will turn it back to you.
Lloyd, thank you so much. I just, I really can't thank you enough for everything you've done for Northern Lights and for myself. We've used that quote a number of times in honor of your dad and in honor of the CFC. So, thank you so much. Now hopefully I can get through my part. Okay, so in Northern Lights, we're highlighting 2 additional people who are have been priceless to our CFC in the Northern Lights region. And Mike, we gotta hide Mike now too, so I won't start crying. We have Sarah Hansen, who is coming to us from the office of U.S. Senator John Thune. Sarah Hansen has been an inspiration and really godsent from Sioux Falls, and has really carried our Sioux Falls campaign for many, many years, 15 years. And Deb Melcher, who is another longtime LFCC member in the Northern Lights region, who you can just always rely on to help when we are in need of support in the Northern Lights area. So, Mike, so thank you to all of our Northern Lights CFC. I've seen a lot of people join in today. And with that, I am going to pass the baton to my great friend, Carrie Hathorn, over in Chicago.
Thanks, Maureen. So just to highlight a few of the wonderful volunteers we have in Midwestern, Eva Stoner from GSA held an amazing Halloween-themed event this year, complete with costumes and prizes, and she has been coordinating for her entire region, which covers 5 CFC zones. Thank you to her. Doris Washington at the TSA in Chicago is revitalizing the campaign at the Chicago airports. Their donations have quadrupled already this year, and they are still raising more. Catherine Bogany just held a wonderful event last week. She had CFC presentations at their all hands meeting. She had a charity fair and she had a chili cook-off, and people had so much fun. And Janice Nelson at the Postal Service Wisconsin district has been making the efforts to engage her entire team, key workers all across the district, and make sure that every single employee hears about the CFC. Our next zone is in Michigan. Tara Skewer at the Alita E. Lutz VA Medical Center set a goal of doubling their donations this year, and they are almost there. They've been having a ton of events and really crushing it in the Michigan zone. Renee Douglas at the Postal Service Michigan 1 District. I personally witnessed her walking around the post office, talking to every single employee about the CFC and making sure that they knew and had a chance to donate. Jacqueline Hicks at the Detroit Arsenal successfully navigated some challenges and held 2 wonderful events this year. And Eric Hexamer at the Defense Logistics Agency held a successful event and has already more than reached 3/4 of his goal. And finally, in ICSO, Paula Herendeen at the Naval Surface Warfare Center sends the best emails every week to everyone on her location, hyping them up, shouting out to all of the people that are working hard, and really creating that wonderful, healthy competition. Victoria Whitaker is a new coordinator and has been killing it at the IRS in Cincy. They're already 65% to goal and have been having some great events. Quentin Boughton at the Defense Finance and Accounting Service held his successful annual DFAST pumpkin carving event. He brought together employees and charities from across the country and Europe for 3 successful events across the day. And Major Matthew Engel at the Kentucky National Guard is determined to revitalize their showing with the CFC, reaching out to all 30 installations and making sure that everyone is aware of the campaign. So thank you to all of my wonderful volunteers. And I will kick it over to Ohio with Ron Kaplan.
You're muted, Ron.
I think you're,
Still muted.
All right, how's that?
there you go. Good job.
All right, somebody muted me. Anyway, I'm going to start off with Christopher Merlot from the Department of Defense at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Christopher took on the role of the LFCC chair this year with great commitment and seriousness. He attends all calls and ensures that the notes are passed on to every LFCC member, but more than that, the analytics, which I super appreciate. I've learned so much from Chris. He also makes a killer chili. You might see that in the photo of Chris there, even though the recipe is too complicated for me to duplicate. The others I want to recognize, I call the 2 Musketeers, and that's Ariel McNutt and Sonora McDonald, both of the Department of Veterans Affairs at the VA Medical Center, Lewis Stokes Cleveland VA Medical Center. Ariel and Sonora manage the VA CFC for the Cleveland area, and not only do they ensure that all key workers have what they need to conduct successful campaigns, they make sure everything is done with fun. And sometimes that means directors getting a pie in the face, which I found interesting. And glad that I didn't have to take part in that other than to photograph it. So those are great folks we have in Ohio working for CFC. I want to thank them very, very sincerely. And now I'm going to pass it on to James Kernan, who's got the Western PA and West Virginia areas.
Awesome. Thank you. So I am blessed to be able to just highlight 2 of the superstars in Zone 29, Western Pennsylvania and West Virginia. This is my first year, so I'm just getting to know these folks, but we've got 2 superstars that I wanted to talk about briefly. The first one is Melissa Mossberg. Melissa is running a campaign. It's the single largest campaign in the zone. So she's running the VA campaign in Pittsburgh. She's a new coordinator this year, but has some CFC experience and running one of the more aggressive campaigns in the zone. They're our top performing account and have started the campaign very strong and looking for some fantastic results. We've also got Miss Lorraine Cook. Lorraine Cook is with the Postal Service, United States Postal Service in Pittsburgh. She's actually running 2 campaigns. And you talk about being calm, cool, and collective. Lorraine is a pro, a CFC pro, and just a real superstar. But she's assembled teams in each of the locations, kicked off each of the campaigns, and has multiple events planned. She's heavily engaged with leadership, and she's doing a wonderful job thus far. So thank you to all the volunteers in Zone 29. And I'm going to pass the floor back off to Bruce Jacobs.
All right. Thanks, James. Everybody, it is I'm Bruce Jacobs. I'm the Western Area Director, and I just want to congratulate the Northern Area. You guys are fantastic. So thanks to everybody and all you've done. It's now my honor to introduce our guest speaker, from the Western area, Ms. Kelly McPartland from the Transportation Security Administration. Kelly is a dedicated CFC volunteer whose heart is all in when it comes to the CFC, as you'll see and hear from her very poignant personal story. And Kelly, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Bruce. Hi, guys. I've been a supporter of the CFC for over 20 years. It's a cause that's near and dear to my heart for sure. I started helping the CFC to honor my son, Frankie. The cause of the week, I think that speaks loudest to me is medical research, because I remember all too well when I most needed help, and a CFC charity was there for me. When Frankie was born, he was perfect, pink and cute as a button. So you can imagine my surprise when he was diagnosed with leukemia at a routine checkup. We were immediately admitted to the Children's Hospital right before his first Halloween. Frankie loved his Nook. He was a real character. I only think he took it out if he had a laugh or eat. But leukemia is a cruel disease, and before long, his mouth was so full of sores from the chemo and radiation that he could no longer suck on his Nook. Instead, he could only hold it in his hand for comfort. Next. Little Frankie was always quick to smile, no matter how sick or weak he became. In this photo, you can see a rare tear on his cheek, and it was following a particularly painful spinal tap. Next. By his first Thanksgiving, he was on life support in ICU. The cancer and its treatments had taken toll on his tiny body. Sadly, we lost Frankie just after his first birthday. So now I stand because to do anything less would dishonor him. Next. I stand for all of the other little ones battling cancer right now and their families praying for a cure. I stand with CFC and the wonderful charities that promote pediatric cancer research. When your child is this sick, the only thing you should be worrying about is loving them, not bills you are going to be able to pay or what medical bills you're not going to be able to pay. Because of the Leukemia Society's help, I was able to give Frankie all my love and attention and keep my lights on at the same time. So thank you for letting me share Frankie's story with you today. Lloyd, I think you're a rock star. Mm-hmm. And I want to tell you guys that for TSA, we have some of the biggest hearts in the federal agencies out there, and I'm really thankful to my coworkers.
Thank you so much, Kelly. What a story, and thank you so much for being willing and vulnerable enough to share that with all of us. If I can gather myself now, I'd like to quickly introduce the account managers on my Western team. Covering Alaska and Cascadia CFCs, we have Mr. Ken Miller. Wave to us, Ken. In the Pacific Northwest zone, we have Mr. Billy Fox. Billy's actually at a second event simultaneously, but I think he's on the phone with us today. So pipe up and say hi, Billy, if you're there.
Howdy, howdy. Yep.
Right.
Eating chili.
All right, keep it up. And then for Desert Southwest and Mountain State zones, we have the incomparable Mrs. Barbara Barfield. Hi, Barb. Thanks for joining us today. So I have a really great team, and I'm really happy and thrilled to work with them. All right, so to introduce you to our spotlighted volunteers from the Western Zone, I'm first going to pass the mic to Ken Miller from Alaska and Cascadia CFCs. Go ahead, Ken. And make sure you're unmuted.
Thank you, Bruce. My name is Ken Miller, and before I get started, I want to say how appreciative I am also to Kelly for sharing. Some that do know, I lost my wife to leukemia a few years back, and so that touched me. I wasn't expecting that, but it's just beautiful what the Combined Federal Campaign does. Again, my name is Ken Miller, and I'm the account manager for the Alaska and Cascadia zones. Cascadia is a Washington State zone. In Alaska, we'd like to shout out, and I'm just so proud of Lieutenant Ryan Milligan up in Cold Fairbanks at Eielson Air Force Base. Lieutenant Milligan and his team have already managed to raise double last year's total amount at Eielson Air Force Base, and they're not done yet. So a big thank you to Lieutenant Milligan and his team, because he has a true team up there for the combined federal campaign for Eielson Air Force Base. And at the National Park Service in Alaska, Mary Kate Rapetsky and Joe Cusack. These two have served as CFC volunteers for many, many years, and they're our dynamic duo at the National Park Service CFC campaign in Alaska. And they are and have been for many years one of our leading Alaska CFC campaigns. Every year they come up with new ideas to promote the CFC. So a big shout out and thank you to Mary Kate and Joe. And now at this time, I'll turn to Washington State, which we call the Cascadia Zone. And in Washington State at the Environmental Protection Agency, we have the incomparable Julie McLeod. Julie always does a tremendous job at the EPA. They raise tens of thousands of dollars each year for the combined federal campaign. And this year, EPA is off to an incredible start, thanks to Julie. They have already raised over $32,000, and at this same time last year, they had raised $9,000. So you can do those numbers. And then I also would like to give a big shout out to Joy Real. She's at the Food and Drug Administration out of Spokane, Washington. Joy manages a campaign, one of my smaller offices, but even though they're small, they're mighty. Joy's office has already surpassed last year's totals in participation and dollars raised. So I want to give a big shout out to Joy. And now at this time, I'll turn it over to my colleague and friend, Billy Fox, to speak about the Pacific Northwest Combined Federal Campaign. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, well, thank you, Ken. And I am at Army Corps of Engineers in downtown Portland. I'm a chili judge. And so, you know, if I get a little belchy, it's because I'm eating too much chili already. But I'm just here, very thankful for all the Pacific Northwest CFC folks. We cover all of Oregon and a bit of Southwest Washington. And part of that Southwest Washington that we cover is Walla Walla. And in Walla Walla, there is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers there. And the person we are honoring today is Callie Nelson, who is our coordinator there. And Callie this year has already tripled what she did last year. And the year before that, she's 4 times that number. So she's really gotten a hold of the CFC heart, and she's gone after it, and her numbers are just keep growing. And we're really proud of Callie and the work that she's doing, as well as all of the folks in the Pacific Northwest and the work that they do to raise money for our worthy charities. So we're very grateful. So I want to turn this now over to Barbara Banfield, and she's going to talk about Desert Southwest. Barbara?
You're muted, Barb.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am very pleased to talk about the Desert Southwest CFC. I've had the privilege of working with them for 2 years now. And as part of working with them, I've worked with Dr. Aurelia Harris, who's with the USDA Forest Service. And Dr. Harris has been involved with the CFC for over 25 years. And she started as a coordinator, like many, in 1998, and has moved into many different positions through her years of service. And presently, we are honored to have her as our local federal coordinating committee chair. And so, Dr. Harris, we can't thank you enough for your leadership and for helping us make the campaign so successful in the Desert Southwest. Now I'd like to recognize Atonia Girardou and Diana Garcia from the VA West Consolidated Patient Center. And these gals are doing a terrific job. Atonia is new to the CFC, but not new to charities. And she's volunteered at several organizations. And she, as well as Ms. Garcia, have made CFC the featured presentation for the all hands meeting for over 400 employees. And their campaign is off to a great start, one of the best starts in years. So hats off to you ladies, and already they are only $1,000 away from what they raised last year. So thank you, Editonia and Diana. And now I'd like to talk about the Mountain States Zone. That's where I've helped serve and support for over 24 years. And in those years, it's been my privilege to work with Linda Miller of the Ogden IRS. And she has an amazing team of key workers. They have orchestrated multiple events with charities. They contacted senior staff to secure prizes like dedicated parking spaces for the employees, and they organized gift basket drawings. And their campaign is off to a tremendous start, and they're poised to beat several years' previous totals. Outstanding, ladies. Thank you. You're doing a great job. Next, I'd like to recognize Luis Salvador. He's with the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, and Luis has been a very engaged coordinator who organized this very successful 5K run. His office is small, but they've already raised just shy of their 2022 totals, just within $300. Way to go, Louis. So let me now pass the baton back to Bruce Jacobs, our wonderful leader for the Western States. Bruce?
Okay, checking to make sure I'm unmuted. All right. So now we're going to change gears a little bit and play a fun game that everybody's invited to play. This is called Kahoot, and it's a CFC Giving Thanks Kahoot game. So this is how it's going to work. Everybody get out your smartphone, preferably, or a tablet, or if you don't have one of those, you can also open a second browser, preferably on a second screen. That's where it will work best. But get out that device, and then you're going to point your browser to kahoot.it. That's KAHOOT.it. Then you're going to enter the game pin that's going to come up on the screen here in just a minute, or you can just scan this QR code right here. So go to kahoot.it and enter 883849, or just scan this QR code with your phone. It'll take you right into the game. So then it'll prompt you to enter your name or a nickname. So pick a name and enter that. And then you'll be invited into the game. So I can see a lot of people joining here already. Now, don't worry if your name disappears momentarily. You can just wake up your device, but don't refresh or exit and try to re-enter. You're still in the game once you're in, so don't worry. Just it may disappear for a second, but it'll come back. So in a minute here, when we start the game, you're going to see a question pop up, followed by possible answers. And each answer has a corresponding color. You're not going to click on the Teams window. You're going to look at your device and click on the color of the tile that corresponds to the answer that you think is correct. Okay? Now you're going to get points for getting the answer right, but you also get bonus points for being quick to answer. So you get, again, points for getting it right and the points for being fast. All right? So we got about 58 people in the game so far. We might give it just a few more seconds to give everybody a chance to play who wants to play. And when I don't see more people joining, I will go ahead and click start. We're up to 62. Fantastic. Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and start it. So here's our first question. Three, two, one. Your local zone is overseen by a what? A guy on the Chiefs, the Government Accountability Office, the Local Federal Coordinating Committee, or LFCC, or a non-governmental organization. Which of those answers is correct? Click on the tile on your phone that corresponds to the color of the answer that you think is right. Got 63 answers already, so we'll have the answer in just a moment. Correct answer is the Local Federal Coordinating Committee. I'm happy to see that so many of you got it right and that nobody selected guy on the Chiefs. Way to go. All right, so let's see who's ahead. In first place, we have Lloyd. I think he was our featured speaker today, 944 points, followed by Mark, Happy, Quentin, and Carmen. All right, here we go to the next question. True or false? Newly hired federal employees must wait until CFC season to give. Is that true or is that false? Five seconds. The correct answer is false. That's right. You don't have to wait until CFC season. If you're a new employee, you have the option to create an account and give within 30 days of hire. All right, great job, everybody. Let's see who's in the lead now. Lloyd's still in the lead, then Mark, Happy, Country Living, and Quentin. All right, next question. 3 out of 5. Which of the following is not an accepted method of CFC giving? Which one is not? There's 6 options. Recurring payroll, one-time credit, debit, or ACH, volunteer hours, recurring credit, debit, or ACH, cash, or text to donate. Which one of these can you not use to make a gift with the combined federal campaign? And this has been the rule for about 6 or 7 years now, so hopefully everybody knows. We'll see. The correct answer is cash is not accepted in the combined federal campaign. Great. Most of you got it right. And Happy jumps into the lead. He must have, looks like Billy got it right. Lloyd got it right too, but he must have been faster. Okay. Next question is also true or false. You can make both a one-time and a recurring CFC gift if you choose. Is that correct? Well, you guys are fast on the trigger. Look at those answers flying in. Obviously, I allowed too much time per answer. I think we have just one more person to answer, then we'll be there. Can you or can you not make a one-time and a recurring gift? That's true. You can do both. All but one got it right. That's fantastic. I'm glad you know that, so you can share that information with folks. That means you can make a one-time Giving Tuesday gift in addition to your payroll deduction gift. All right, next question. And Happy's still in the lead. Last question. Which of these is not considered a benefit of CFC giving? Control over your personal information, collective impact, a secure donation portal, to be able to support multiple charities at once, to track the status of your contributions, or all of these are benefits of CFC giving. Almost there. You got it right. And that is correct. All of these are benefits of CFC giving, especially the first one. A lot of people don't realize that when you give through CFC, you can control exactly how much information charities receive. All or nothing, or something in between where you share just your name or maybe just your donation amount. So you have a lot of control over that information. All right, let's see who has won the game. In third place, we have AGR10 SEMD. Second place, Lloyd. In first place, none other than Happy. All right, way to go, everybody. Now, what I'd like you to do is send me an email with your name and your preferred address so we can send you an amazing prize that may or may not be some CFC swag, but some really good CFC swag. So again, my email address is bruce@mpmay.com. I'll throw that in the chat in just a moment. Send me an email that you were one of the top 3 winners, and we'll send you a prize. All right, thanks for playing, everybody. So let's go ahead and go back to our presentation now. And I want to turn the time over to Katie, who is our area director, Katie Barker in the central area, to introduce her team and the people she's recognizing. Go ahead, Katie.
Thanks, Bruce.
And thanks for the fun game and congratulations to the winners. I would like to recognize my superstar team here in the central area. We are made up of, with James Kernan out of Heart of the Midlands, Ali Chang Ray in the Gateway Zone, also Quinetta Anderson and Meg Shear Deerdorf. They are both with the Greater Tennessee Valley Zones. So thank you so much to my amazing team. I am privileged enough to get to introduce our next speaker. He comes out of Greater Tennessee Valley, Mr. Kevin White. He is with the Defense Acquisition University there at Redstone Arsenal. Kevin's commitment to the campaign has been demonstrated not only by him serving as CFC coordinator for his office, but also by serving on his local federal coordinating committee for the past 14 years. So thank you so much, Kevin, for your commitment and dedication to the campaign. And I will turn it over to you to share your story.
All right. Thank you, Katie. Good afternoon, everyone. As Katie said, my name is Kevin White, and I've become a dedicated supporter for CFC. I always give to CFC when I was in the military early on, but when I really become a dedicated supporter was in 2007. I lost my nephew, Anthony Ewing. He was killed by an IED in Iraq. And ever since then, I like I said, I've been full on with supporting CFC from running our organization to also, serving on the board for all these years. But, the CFC charity that stepped up and really made a difference to our family was called Soldiers Angels. After he passed away, some of our less fortunate family members that weren't able to attend the funeral or wouldn't have been able to attend the funeral, Soldiers Angels stepped in and bought airline tickets. They provided money, food, gas, hotels for the entire family. Well, for those ones that were not fortunate enough, or for less fortunate that would not have been able to afford it, to be able to, to attend the funeral. So it really made a difference for our family during these difficult times with this. So I just wanted to, say on here, thank you. It really it makes a difference for when you may not realize how much your hard work and your giving gives, but I can tell you from my family, from a personal, experience and talking to my family and everything, of knowing how heartfelt and how, important it was for them to be able to attend the funeral and to basically just help us all to deal with it and to get through these difficult times. So it really made a difference. But again, thank you. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate everyone's hard work and your support. So Katie, before I turn it back to you, I want to thank you for your leadership and hard work. And you may already think already, but our organization is we've reached about 150% of our goal, but we're hoping to double it before the end of the year. But again, thank you and for allowing me this time.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you for sharing your story. It is just wonderful to hear how these CFC charities are able to support our community and how much our donations do matter. So with that, I would like to pass off our volunteer recognition in the central area to our first account manager, James, out of Heart of the Midlands.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie. And thank you, Kevin, for that as well. So I also run Zone 12, Heart of the Midlands, which is Nebraska, half of Iowa, half of South Dakota, in two little tiny counties in Wyoming. So, and we've got tons of superstars in the zone as well, but I wanted to highlight three today. So the first one I wanted to talk about was Miss Kristen Hightop. Kristen is with the USCIS Nebraska Service Center. So she's running one of the top campaigns in Heart of the Midlands. She also was one of last year's elite national hero winners. So give her a round of applause. But she started her campaign with a bang, and she's up over 40% compared to this time last year. So they're already at $34K of their modest $40,000 goal, and I'm optimistic that we're going to crush it this year. Kristen, when I work with the individual coordinators, she by far has the most sophisticated campaign plan of any of my coordinators ever. And anyway, it's just a true blessing to work with her. She has 11 planned events in, midway through the campaign. And I think her kickoff event for her office alone actually had a higher attendance than our national kickoff meeting. So anyway, true superstar. We also have Staff Sergeant Stephanie Kardashian out of the Offutt Air Force Base, the 55th Wing. Stephanie's a new coordinator this year, but she's also one of the most active and engaged coordinators I have in the zone. She's single-handedly coordinated 2 leadership meetings before the campaign even launched, including a photo op with the commander and the master chief. That photo and article turned into a front page article in the local paper in the Offutt website. And it was a huge PR opportunity for the campaign to get things kicked off. But she's leading a team of over 40 volunteers and fully executing her comprehensive plan. And again, she's outpacing the goal this year compared to last year. So congratulations to Stephanie. And then also Major Lene Fisher of US Stratcom, also in Bellevue, Nebraska. She is another new coordinator as well, but she, to me, seems like a 10-year veteran. Strong leadership, confident woman, but she's leading and recruited a team of over 25 plus volunteers. We had 2 trainings and helped roll out their plan with their entire team. And again, Stratcom is outpacing really all other campaigns in our zone. They've already raised over $40,000, and I feel confident that they're going to come closer to the $80,000 to $90,000 range this year. So congratulations to Major Lene Fisher. So I'm going to pass the baton back off to our fearless leader in the Central Zone, Miss Katie Barker.
Thank you, James. So I am serving as also the account manager over the Heartland Zone, which is the entire state of Kansas and the western half of Missouri. Here in Heartland, we do have the privilege of having several superstar coordinators and volunteers, but I would like to recognize these 3 today. We have Mr. Marcus Rhodes. He is with the Kansas City VA. Marcus not only serves on our Heartland LFCC, but he also helps to bring fun to CFC events. As some of you may know him as DJ Papa Bear, spinning the jams for a lot of our national events. He is not only requested to bring the fun to local events, but also for other zones throughout the country. So I just wanted to thank Marcus for his continued support of the campaign, and I am looking forward to our next DJ Papa Bear dance party. I also have Mr. Chad Hansford. He is with the Dwight D. Eisenhower VA. What started as a team of 2, soon after the campaign started, became a team of 1. So Chad has had the task of supporting the campaign for not only the Leavenworth VA, but also the Topeka, as well as multiple CBOCs in the area. And he has done a great job at promoting the campaign with each location. In addition to holding a kickoff event, he also personalizes the cause of the week emails, and he makes sure that he gets time at each town hall, employee engagement call, and any other agency events that are held. And due to his efforts this year in promoting the campaign, I'm happy to announce that the Leavenworth VA has already exceeded the amount raised from the amount raised last year. So thank you, Chad, for that. Last but certainly not least, I would like to recognize Mr. Larry Heisel. Larry is with the Kansas City Federal Executive Board. Larry has been a CFC champion for decades. His experience and commitment to the CFC began even before his federal career with his nonprofit work, and most recently as a leader showcasing his support and dedication to the CFC. There are very few individuals that can demonstrate such great contributions to the campaign as Larry. He is in a league of his own when it comes to his support, not only locally, but also nationally. So I just want to thank you, Larry, for your unwavering commitment, guidance, and leadership to the Combined Federal Campaign. So thank you to all of my volunteers here in Heartland. And I would like to pass it on to Allie out of Gateway.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm proud to represent the Gateway Zone. And like many others, it's like choosing from your children. How do you select those to be able to highlight? But in the Gateway Zone, I've chosen to highlight 4 individuals, and I'll start off with Mark Ohl. He is probably our most veteran CFC volunteer that we have that we're featuring today. And not only is he dedicated to a collaborative approach, although he does not do dance parties like DJ Papa Bear, he does do a wonderful job at emceeing these collaborative events that Mark has been so good at displaying partnership time and time again. And so Gateway thanks Mark for his many years of service to the CFC. And Mark, we hope that you'll continue your CFC engagement after your retirement. I said the R word, that I know that you're contemplating for later this year, but we hope that you will always be at the CFC table. Next up is Anita Leach. She is our Greater St. Louis Federal Executive Board tireless leader. And Anita's first CFC season as FEB Executive Director was actually in 2020. So pandemic hits and she is here in a leadership role. But her sincere care and concern for others drove her commitment. She never stopped, and she hasn't stopped since taking the helm here at the FEB and Gateway. She's actually helped grow the campaign year after year since then. And because of her leadership, we continue to be on an upward trend. Thank you, Anita. Next up are 2 newcomers to the CFC campaign. I want to acknowledge Nikita Womack Shipman, who's with the Veterans Canteen Service Central Office, and then also Technical Sergeant Dylan Blood, who's at Scott Air Force Base. Both of these individuals are new in their roles of CFC coordinators, but they have embraced their positions and have not looked back. For Nikita, not only is she a first-time CFC coordinator, but she came into this campaign season with a real eagerness to try new things, very similar to Dylan. And her heart is full to help others. I do not know many people who have a larger heart than Nikita, probably all of you on this call, but hers is pretty darn big. And so she gives back, and that is how she shows love to her community. But in her leadership, she is showing that for her CFC team, she's paving the way for new traditions there at the VCS, and we are sure that we're going to see continued future success. For Dylan, he's also looking at the campaign with a new eye. He's interested in developing activities where people want to engage in. So he's actually taken a look at what's been done in the past and coming up with new ideas. As someone who loves the game of golf, there seems to be a lot of things that involve a little golf ball, but they are being accepted well, and people are eager to participate. And so for that, I want to appreciate Dylan as well for trying some new things with an eye towards innovation and making sure that it's fun and meaningful at the same time. So with that, thank you to all of my Gateway volunteers. But I also want to thank my beloved Quinetta Anderson, who helps me out from time to time in Gateway Zone, but is also an account manager herself. So I'm going to give it to her so she can talk about Greater Tennessee Valley.
Thank you, Allie. I appreciate it. My name is Quinetta Anderson. I'm the area manager for the Greater Tennessee Valley. Woohoo! Love my Greater Tennessee Valley. Love you Gateway guys as well. We are responsible for covering a portion of Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, but of course, the greater portion of Tennessee. I want to give a shout out before I go into my volunteers. I want to give a shout out to our fearless leader, Lisa Carrere, who, listen, she leads by example as far as the LFCC chair. She beats the bushes and she walks the arsenal to make sure there is no account left behind. So thank you so much. So the first person that I want to talk about is Andrea Wigington. Sorry, Andrea, if I cut up your name a little bit. She's with Missile Defense. And Andrea is an awesome campaign coordinator. In the past, she served as a key key worker. And like Jen Howard led out with, she progressed to become the campaign coordinator for this awesome agency. She was able to secure over 100 key workers. Now, I don't know if you've been doing this for a while with us, but getting 100 key workers is enough to be celebrated in its own right. She made sure 80% of them received training. She's hosted several events. She's very enthusiastic, very supportive of the campaign. To date, MDA has raised, and this was last week, guys, when they asked us to write this, so I'm sure this is a different total right now, but as of last week, she was at 1/3 of her total, and I feel confident that she's on track to surpassing last year's total. The next runner-up, the next individuals that we want to recognize is Hannah McDuffie and Linda Oliver. They're with the Tennessee Valley Healthcare System. Hannah and Linda both manage and provide oversight for the VA healthcare locations in Tennessee. This dynamic group duo ensures that all key workers have the materials, things that they need to conduct a successful campaign. To date, 2 of the locations that Hannah manages are performing well. The Alvin York campus is well above 61.3%, and the Nashville campus was above 68% last week. Linda is the campaign coordinator for the Mid-South CPAC location, which to date has surpassed last year's total, and they are, as of last week, they were over 101.3%. So I'm sure their number has gone up. Great job, guys. Now, this next individual, when my leadership went to the Arsenal and they met this wonderful lady, they said, "Oh my God, she's such a lovely lady." How appropriate that her last name is Lovelady. Angela Lovelady and Scott Jackson are the team at NASA George C. Marshall Space Flight Center. A great volunteer is someone who truly believes in the cause of the organization they are volunteering with and for. Angela and her team, they are those volunteers. Angela is a true advocate and supporter of the combined federal campaign. Angela, along with Scott and their team, was able to recruit over 75 key workers and held training sessions for them to be adequately trained. She's hosted an in-person charity event with over 10 charities present. She's in the process of hosting a fun walk in the cafeteria, which I'm going to definitely be seeing how that's done. And Angela has been dealing with an extremely difficult family issue, and most people would have stepped down. The greater Tennessee and the central area folks know what that is. And she had every right to ask to step down. She has not and never asked to leave. Angela and Scott and the NASA team are true heroes of the CFC. Thank you, guys. And so now I don't do this by myself. I have a wonderful colleague that is boots on the ground, our Redstone Arsenal liaison. So Meg, I'm going to pass this off to you so you can share with us what Lauren and them are doing.
Thank you so much, Gwinnetta. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan. I want to recognize Lauren Rejo with the U.S. Army Assistance Command. Lauren is new to being a coordinator, but you wouldn't know it. Her enthusiasm has been outstanding. Once she was confirmed as a coordinator, she jumped right in and set up a table, but she didn't have the materials to do so. So what she did is she printed out what she could and went and got oranges for her table. We very shortly were able to get her, some swag to put out there, but her excitement and kindness has been unparalleled, and I look forward to seeing what she can do. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Antonia Gonzalez with the Southern area.
Thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate that. Thank you so much to the Central area. You guys are doing some amazing work over there. And so I would like to go ahead and just recognize our Southern area team. I will just mention really quickly, I know we are running over time for our event today, so we greatly appreciate you all attending. If you're able to continue with us to hear the Southern area spotlights and our guest speaker, we would greatly appreciate you staying on. So our area, Southern area, covers Oklahoma, all of Texas, and over to Florida. And so our first account manager is Bailey Gordon with Oklahoma and North Texas. We have Rosemary Henley and Gwen Harris, a wonderful team down in Texas, Gulf Coast. Eric Bird in South Central Texas, which is the Austin, San Antonio area. And then Michelle Werner, who covers our Mississippi Delta along with our Southeast tri-state. And next, I'd like to go ahead and introduce you all to our guest speaker, who is Mr. Marcus Forte. He is the LFCC chair for the South Central Texas CFC, as well as the Federal Executive Board director for the Alamo Federal Executive Board. So Marcus, I will turn it over to you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well. I'll make this extremely quick, but hopefully impactful. At the end of the day, literally every speaker on pretty much what I was going to kind of mention. Lost both my mother and father to cancer. I have a young daughter, is a Michael born 15 ounces. Worked in the military as a civilian, overseeing casualty and mortuary affairs. So literally I touched and breathed and lived every moment. And if it wasn't for individuals such as yourself, individual charities such as the ones that they briefed on, none of the things in my personal life would have been able to been made whole because of the situations that I've dealt with. Jen mentioned this from the first day I met her, and literally every conversation we say or have, we're one situation away from needing something or someone, and we don't take that statement lightly. Marcus Forte grew up in the greatest city, the greatest state, Kansas City, Missouri. America's team, as I put in the chat, Kansas City. My two impactful charities are youth serving agencies and hunger serving events. And what I mean by that is food banks, charities that give food to schools, Boys and Girls Clubs. I am a product of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Kansas City. I could say 1,000 words, but literally thank you. The thank you that I mean is thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being a part of this great moment in life. Thank you for being present in this moment. We talked about being a caring individual. We talked about being dedicated. Don't take for any moment that your time, your 1 cent, $10,000, $5,000, it is literally, it makes a difference. Youth serving agencies are the reason I'm here in a suit today. Earlier today, we did a dry run and they said, Marcus, you're so dressed up. I don't dress the way I used to be. I took opportunities in my life to be part of youth serving agencies, and they made me to who I am today. Individuals such as yourself, those individuals who are donating time to be a volunteer coach, those individuals who are giving $1, those individuals who are giving food to the food bank, that went to this person you're sitting and listening to. You made a difference in my life. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your mercy. I want to thank you for your grace. Just don't feel that what you do isn't enough. Any little thing that you can do could turn some young person, some young individual's life around like it turned mine. So again, no spin on words, but as we close today, enjoy giving happy. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because being part of the CFC, being part of this event brings goosebumps. And thank you for everyone who's on the call, and specifically to the speakers, because you touched me and kind of put me in a point to right level or situation level in regards to what's important today in my life, and that's making a difference in others. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcus. You are such an inspiration to me, to our team, and it has been such a pleasure getting to know you this year. So thank you for taking the opportunity to speak to our team today. I am going to go ahead and hand it off to Bailey Gordon with the Oklahoma and North Texas CFC zone. And let me see if I can find you so I can spotlight you, Bailey. There you are. Thank you.
Gave you a wave. Hi, I'm Bailey Gordon. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, Marcus, for sharing your story with us. And we here in Oklahoma and North Texas have some incredible volunteers that I'm excited to share with you. So first of all, we'll go down south of the Red River to Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas. We have an amazing team there, and I know that Tech Sergeant Deshaun Scott is here with us today. So Deshaun, give us a little hand raise. Captain John Robertson, Master Sergeant Jeremy Grissett, and Captain Michael Anbury are truly an all-star team at Shepherd Air Force Base. They're working to locate key workers in all of their divisions and just kicked off about 2 weeks ago. And within the first week of their campaign, they had more than doubled what they had raised previously, prior to the start of their campaign. So they're very much on track to reach their goal, and I'm excited to see what they accomplish. Next are some other CFC superstars, Debbie Glean and Kim Shepard from the Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center. If you have never experienced a Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center virtual event, I would encourage you to ask our team for a link to join their CFC telethon. They put their teams, their agency members' talents on full display on that day, and their enthusiasm for the CFC is just truly unparalleled. So they're leading our zone again this year in giving, and we're just thrilled to have them involved again. And one of our new CFC superstars this year is Rachel Van Slyke with Housing and Urban Development. Rachel actually decided to do a building-wide event at the federal building here in Oklahoma City. So she invited all the federal agencies in to play bingo, meet with charities, and just have a great time learning about the CFC and all the different causes that they can support. So she inspired many to give, and we have already seen some wonderful results from that event. So thank you, Rachel. And Antonia, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you so much, Bailey. So I am also the account manager for North Texas, and so I work very closely with some of the team that I'm about to recognize. First off, as Jen mentioned at the beginning of the program, we have loaned executives, and so every one of these folks on the slide right now are loaned executives from our U.S. Postal team. It's separated into Fort Worth and Dallas, and so we have Shania Anderson, Barbara Quinn, and Tycee Raven out of North Texas Fort Worth District. And they are leading the way in North Texas with over 44,000 raised so far this year, and already 120% ahead of what they raised in total for 2022. So great job, ladies. And then to head over to the Dallas district, we have Sonia Reiser, Felicia Walton, Jeanette Lockhart, and Angela Ellington. And these ladies have been doing this work, Sonia, for more than 20 years, and they have hosted more than 60 CFC events already, bringing charities to meet with the federal workforce and hear all of the great work that they're doing. So thank you all for our U.S. Postal loaned executives. Great work what you're doing this year. The next slide is recognizing a couple of other agencies. So we have Federal Aviation Administration, the Southwest Region Office. Scott Carmen and Leslie Hall are doing amazing work out there. They held the first in-person event since 2019 and brought a lot of fun by having an amazing CFC race challenge to really engage their colleagues to get to that event. And it was an amazing event with lots of charities there. And then finally, we have Master Sergeant Kara Jolly and Master Sergeant Joseph Sanchez with the Goodfellow Air Force Base. And they're really bringing a lot of excitement and energy to the campaign out at Goodfellow, and the reaching units that have never pledged before and are already exceeding the total that they raised in 2022 as well. So thank you all so much. We greatly appreciate all of your efforts. And I am going to pass it over to Rosemary and Gwen, our account managers in the Texas Gulf Coast CFC. And ladies, you're muted.
I muted.
There you go.
And camera on. Thank you for that, Antonia. And I was so happy to see your LEs up on screen, because for 12 years I've been trying to beat them, and we finally accomplished that last year with that dynamic duo of postal loan executives of Daryl Mitchell and Sharonda Brantley, who run the Texas 2. This is their second year. Last year, they led the nation and raising over $400,000. And this year, as of today, I looked in, I think they're at 190. So they earned just under where they were we're on our way to for this year. Sharonda runs the city stations, and Mr. Mitchell, who is also a postmaster, he takes care of our rural AO stations as the post office. And I just want to thank you for all that they do to make sure Texas 2 U.S. Postal knows who CFC is and what they're about. And also, someone I've been working with for almost 12 years since I've been in the campaign is Miss Melissa Patronella, who's with the Office of Natural Resources and Revenue. She has put on amazing events pre-COVID and has come back post-COVID with hybrid in-person and virtual events, always innovative and creative. We've been in everywhere from Lake Houston to other open air spaces around her that she just put on one and has a couple other events going. Thank you, Melissa, for all you do, ensuring that even in this new work environment of part home, part away, your folks at ONR know what CFC is all about. We thank you for your effort. And Melissa and Sharonda are both ELCA Emerging Leaders graduates. With that, I'll pass it to Rosemary.
Okay. I want to talk about George Amerson. A chance meeting after the campaign started led to George serving as loan executive. Using his past LE experience, George manages a list of accounts, including his own organization, DHS. George is a valuable member of the team. How valuable is he? Did I hear someone ask? Well, as of midday today, November 28th, the Texas Gulf Coast team has pledged over $600,000. So I think we thank you for all our Texas Gulf Coast volunteers. And now I will turn it over to Eric.
Hey, everybody. My name is Eric Bird. I am the manager for South Central Texas, which is the heart of Texas down.
Oh, Eric, I think we may have
Total.
lost. Oh, there you
Laura
are.
and
There,
Michael
you're
are
back.
Laura and Michael are highly communicative and are gearing up for a strong second half push. From Joint Base San Antonio, I'd like to recognize Senior Master Sergeant Christopher Flores. He manages the largest single DoD installation in our military. While I visited to conduct on-site training, I witnessed his dedication and attention to detail. Even more compelling was his clear communication leadership style. I anticipate a pivotal second half for JBSA. Next, I'd like to recognize from our Alamo Federal Executive Board, Marcus Forte, a communicator who understands just how to maximize the potential of the campaign. His exceptional leadership was instrumental in the initial success of South Central Texas. From Veterans Affairs Austin, I'd like to recognize Kia Olahiga for meeting. She's a whopping 86% of her annual goal already with an entirely virtual team and navigating the hurdle.
Oh, I think we may have lost Eric. So we'll go ahead and let me fill in for him. So he was recognizing Kia Olahiga with Veterans Affairs Austin Financial Service Center, and they have met over 60% of their annual goal, and they have an entirely virtual team. They've been navigating the hurdles associated with such a tall task for their agency. So thank you so much, Kia Olahiga. And then finally, Melba Ramos and Lavada Johnson with Customs and Border Protection. They've already reached over 57% of their total raised in last year's campaign, 45% of their annual goal for 2023. Eric tabled a first ever event at a benefits fair that they were hosting, had Eric come out and do an event out there. And so he heard lots of different compelling stories from longtime donors who were excited to be at an event giving back to the Combined Federal Campaign for 2023. So thank you to all of our wonderful South Central Texas volunteers. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Michelle to speak about Mississippi Delta and the Gulf Coastal Plain CFC.
Hi, I'm lucky enough to be the person who gets to work with the wonderful coordinators in the Mississippi Delta and Gulf Coastal Plains region. Also, I want to give a shout out to our LFCC chair, Cynthia Wallace. Not only does she run some IRS offices, but she is instrumental in helping me get coordinators and working with our coordinators and managing the campaign. First, I want to recognize Stennis Space Center. It's being run by Valerie Buckingham. With just under 50% of last year's total raise, Stennis Space Center is leading the Mississippi Delta Gulf Coastal Plains CFC campaign. Valerie launched the campaign in October with an employee kickoff, and she is successfully managing a campaign that covers several tenants and key workers on Stennis. She's doing an amazing job managing a very, very large operation with many, many players. So shout out to Valerie. And then we also have the Veterans Health Administration in Central Arkansas. I'm recognizing Tom Brockway and his team. He has a whole team of key workers who are instrumental in helping him manage several VA locations, and they are doing an incredible job. Tom and his team have their hands full managing all these locations, with their John L. McClellan Memorial Veterans Hospital already at 86% of last year's total raise. And then this is going to make all of you other coordinators jealous, but Tom and his team do have a secret. They have a CFC popcorn booth, which is very instrumental in getting federal employees to give to CFC. And then finally, we have our IRS Memphis campus being managed by Jacqueline Mallory. She also is getting some assistance now from our loaned executive, Gwen Morris. With a CFC kickoff event and a charity fair event already held, Jacqueline has hit the ground running with her CFC campaign to all of her IRS employees. She's also organizing learning visits to local CFC charities for her key workers. So please give a hand to this amazing team I have in Mississippi Delta, just doing incredible things. And then we're going to move on to the Southeast Tri-State area. Again, shout out to Cynthia Wallace. She works in 2 zones, and she's our interim chair for our Southeast Tri-State area. I want to recognize first, I have 2 Air Force bases, and I would tell you that one is the top of the campaign, but literally every week they keep changing places of who's at the top of our Southeast Tri-State campaign. So they're both getting recognized. I have Maxwell Air Force Base and Gunner Annex. I have Captain Andrew McGinnis and Captain Maria Mina, and then Major Carmen Sauer is focusing on the Gunner Annex. She's also a new LFCC member. Maxwell Air Force Base, again, is taking turns with leading our campaign. They've raised over 30% of their last year's total, working closely with leadership and key workers, as well as coordinating group volunteer events for local CFC charities. They're really into getting everyone to volunteer. They recently held a big food drive for a local CFC food bank. So shout out to Maxwell Air Force Base and their coordinators. And then Eglin Air Force Base, who keeps sharing that top spot with Maxwell, we have Lieutenant Kendra Watkins, Lieutenant Christian Waters, and Master Sergeant Joshua Fielder leading that team. The Eglin Air Force team has already hit the ground running with over 30% of last year's total raise, and they've already had 2 successful events, including a 5K CFC run, which was their kickoff event, and an in-person CFC charity fair. And finally, we have Anniston Army Depot. This campaign is being run by Shantae Hudson. When Shantae said that she had CFC figured out for this year, I called her. She's like, Michelle, I've got this figured out this year. She was not kidding. Not even halfway through this year's CFC campaign, she had already surpassed her last year's total. Just an amazing job by Shantae. So please give a hand to this amazing Southeast Tri-State team. And Antonia, I'm going to pass it on back to you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Greatly appreciate you and all the effort you've done. I thank you so much to the entire Southern area team. You guys are true rock stars and such wonderful supporters of the combined federal campaign. And I'm going to kick it over to Jennifer to close us out today.
Hey guys, thank you so much again for these incredible presentations. To everybody who stayed and hung out with us, to hear the stories, to recognize the people. There are never enough hours in the day to recognize federal employees for what they do in service to our country and also as volunteers for the Combined Federal Campaign. Today is Global Day of Giving, Giving Tuesday. I hope each and every one of you will join us. GiveCFC.org, click donate, find a cause, any cause. No contribution is too small to show up and show out today for this exciting event. Let's together make this the greatest CFC day ever. Invite your colleagues to give, guys. That's our job. So in closeout, we've got a video, real brief. Feel free to dip out at any point. But if you're interested in this video, it's charities thanking our federal employees for their giving. So it's pretty quick, 3 minutes, and then we will just end the meeting from there. But if you'd like to use this at an event, let your account manager know. We can send that straight over to you. Thanks, everybody. Happy Giving Tuesday.
Thank you. Because of you, Angela Hospice proudly served over 1,700 families last year, including more than 320 of America's true heroes, our veterans, and receiving compassionate hospice care they deserve. Your caring concern for the welfare of others is what makes our charitable vision a reality.
Thank you for your generous gifts through your Combined Federal Campaign. Because of you, Haven for Hope, CFC code 18900, we are able to provide safe and secure shelter, free hot meals a day, and access to valuable resources to help our clients transform their lives.
Thank you, CFC donors. Because of you, Champ Assistance Dogs, number 25443, is able to provide assistance dogs to help adults, children, or veterans in homes, in public, or in a facility. The total expense to raise, train, and place one assistance dog can reach $30,000, yet Champ provides all of our assistance dogs free of charge. These placements change lives. Because of you, the world is a better place.
Hello, federal employees. Thank you for your generous gifts. Because of you, Operation Breakthrough, CFC code
93232. Because of you, Operation Breakthrough is able to provide safe, quality early care and education, before and after school programming, and even workforce development and entrepreneurship for teens. Thank you.
Thank you.